It was still dark when Emma unlocked the doors of Sunny Diner, the little 24-hour cafe that smelled like burnt coffee and tired dreams. The neon sign outside flickered half the time, and the jukebox in the corner hadn't played right in years, but it was hers, or at least it felt that way. For 3 years, Emma had been the first to arrive and the last to leave. Not because she loved her job, but because she needed it. Every paycheck mattered when you were paying off your late mother's medical bills and trying to keep a roof over your head. One foggy morning in early November, as the first streaks of dawn crept through the glass windows, Emma noticed her. A frail old woman, wrapped in a heavy gray coat, sitting quietly at the counter. Her hands trembled slightly as she stirred her coffee. She looked lost, like she had nowhere to be and no one waiting for her. Emma offered her a warm smile and poured another cup without asking. "Refills on the house," she whispered. That was the beginning of something Emma didn't yet understand. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of small good deeds, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel, Kindness Speaks. Your support helps us share more true stories that warm hearts and inspire hope. Every morning after that, the woman came in. Always at 6:45 sharp, always sat at the same stool, second from the end, and always ordered the same thing: oatmeal with honey and half a cup of black coffee. Emma learned her name was Margaret. She spoke softly, like someone who didn't want to disturb the world. But when she did talk, her words carried the weight of years, of love lost, dreams forgotten, and time slipping too fast. As weeks turned into months, Emma found herself looking forward to those quiet mornings. Sometimes they didn't even need to talk. Just sitting near each other, sharing small smiles, was enough. On the mornings when Margaret's arthritis flared up, Emma helped her spoon her oatmeal or button her coat. When it snowed heavily, Emma brought her an extra pair of gloves from home. It wasn't much, but it made the woman's face light up in a way that reminded Emma of her own grandmother, the one who used to make her believe the world was kinder than it really was. But kindness doesn't pay bills. And despite her cheerful face, Emma's life was anything but easy. Her rent had gone up again, her car was barely holding together, and her boss had hinted at cutting hours to save money. Every night she went home exhausted, wondering how long she could keep doing this. Yet every morning she still showed up, because she knew Margaret would be there. One morning, Margaret didn't come. Emma waited. She kept glancing at the clock, pretending to wipe the counter, trying not to show her disappointment. Maybe she was sick, she thought. Maybe the cold weather had kept her home. But then a second day passed, and a third. The stool at the end of the counter stayed empty. Emma tried to shake it off, but something inside her wouldn't let go. So on the fourth morning, she brewed a small thermos of coffee, packed some oatmeal in a container, and went looking for her. It wasn't easy. Margaret had never said much about where she lived. But Emma remembered something. A bus ticket stub Margaret had once left on the counter with the stop name, Willow Street Retirement Home. When Emma arrived, the nurse at the front desk hesitated before speaking. Margaret, she explained, had been admitted to the hospital 2 nights ago. A fall. Nothing too serious, but she needed rest. Emma left the food there with a note that simply read, "Get well soon. Your breakfast buddy." She didn't sign her name. She didn't need to. Days later, Margaret returned. Her steps were slower, her smile thinner, but her eyes still lit up when she saw Emma. She told her she'd gotten the note and that it made her cry. Emma blushed, pretending not to hear. From that day forward, Emma refused to take her money. Every breakfast was on her. Margaret tried to protest, but Emma would just wink and say, "Consider it my morning exercise in kindness." And so it went on. For 6 more months. Same stool, same oatmeal, same quiet bond that filled the empty diner with warmth. Until one morning, the peace shattered. It was a bright Thursday. The diner was unusually busy. Emma was rushing between tables when the door opened, and silence followed. 4 men in black suits walked in, their eyes sharp, movements synchronized. Behind them, 2 women in sleek gray suits, lawyers by the look of their briefcases. Every customer turned to stare. The men spread out, scanning the room, until one of them pointed toward Margaret, who sat sipping her coffee like nothing was unusual. Emma froze. One of the lawyers approached Margaret, bent down, and whispered something. Margaret smiled, nodded gently, and then looked toward Emma. "Would you come here, dear?" she said softly. Emma walked over, heart pounding. The lawyer handed her an envelope. Heavy, sealed with gold wax. Mrs. Whitmore asked that we deliver this to you personally, the lawyer said. Emma blinked. Mrs. who? Margaret Whitmore, the woman repeated, as if the name should mean something. Founder of Whitmore Holdings. Emma's stomach dropped. Whitmore Holdings was a real estate empire, one of the richest families in the state. She looked at Margaret in disbelief, but the old woman just smiled with kind, tired eyes. You never asked what I did, she said softly. You just helped me. Emma's hands trembled as she opened the envelope. Inside was a letter and a check. She gasped. It wasn't just a generous tip. It was life-changing. Enough to pay off her mother's medical debts. Enough to buy her own little cafe someday. Enough to breathe again. The letter read, Dear Emma, you showed me more kindness than I've known in years. You never saw my money, my name, or my past. You just saw a lonely old woman who needed a friend. I've built empires, but I've forgotten what genuine compassion feels like. You reminded me. Consider this not as charity, but as gratitude. You helped me live again. Now I hope this helps you do the same. With love, Margaret Whitmore. Tears filled Emma's eyes as she looked up. Margaret was smiling at her, surrounded by her bodyguards and lawyers, looking oddly small among them. Thank you, dear, she whispered. For everything. Emma wanted to say something to tell her she didn't need any of this, but words failed her. She just hugged her instead. The diner went silent, customers watching as two women from completely different worlds held each other like family. The next day, Margaret didn't come. And the day after that, Emma found out why. She had passed away peacefully in her sleep. Her lawyers returned one final time to deliver a handwritten note and a set of keys. The note read, For Emma, a place to call your own. The Sunny Diner is yours now. Keep serving kindness. It's the most beautiful thing we can give. Emma stood in the middle of the diner, crying quietly as the morning light spilled through the window, painting everything gold. The stool at the end of the counter was empty again, but somehow, it didn't feel lonely anymore. Months later, Sunny Diner reopened with a new sign, Whitmore's Place, where kindness is served daily. Locals came not just for the food, but for the feeling. Emma kept Margaret's stool untouched with a small plaque that read, In memory of a kind soul who believed in small miracles. And every morning, Emma still brewed that half cup of black coffee. Not because anyone would drink it, but because kindness once poured never truly runs out. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Speaks. Your support helps us continue telling real stories that remind the world that kindness still matters. Special request. Comment below. Kindness never goes unnoticed. Let's fill the comments with love and gratitude for the silent heroes who make the world brighter every day.